our public hearing today with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can stand, please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Welcome everyone to our public hearing. We have a great budget presentation today. We're going to start off with some board president notes, and I just want to point out that we do have an opportunity for public comment, and if you can display my screen, this is the website that you would just put public comment in the subject line. george.org. So if you have a question or a comment that you would like to make, go ahead and send that to that email, and I will receive that and be able to read that out. Excellent. Thanks. So remarks on the budget. I'm pleased to discuss the expenditure plan as proposed for 2020-2021 school year with all of you this evening. The Board of Education, the administrative team, district faculty and staff have worked collaboratively to develop this proposal, and I thank everyone who contributed to the process. The guiding theme for this year's budget development process was a focus on our core values and create sustainable, innovative, engaging learning community. As the district moves into its third year of implementing the strategic plan, we are focused on continuing initiatives that support the mission, vision, values, and goals of the Board of Education and the district. We recognize the uncertain situation that many face due to the ongoing pandemic. Accordingly, we have worked hard to continue our long-standing tradition of excellence at an affordable cost. The proposed budget for 2020-2021 is an overall budget-to-budget increase of 0.4%, or $94,281. This results in a tax levy increase of 1.5%. This is the lowest level since 2012-2013 school year. Throughout the budget development process, the strategic plan was instrumental in helping to prioritize items that will advance the district goals of long-term sustainability and a safe, innovative, and engaging learning environment. Specifically, the district proposes to use attrition to reduce an elementary teaching position, reduce the transportation fleet by 1 bus and 2 vans, and continue to lower the cost of health insurance. Working to create the personalized, innovative, and engaging learning environment, we're maintaining the high-quality educational experience for which Lake George Central School District is known. We'll continue the Sweethearts and Heroes, Rock Solid, Leader in Me, Oasis, and Positive Coaching Alliance programs. We'll purchase service and software enhancements to maintain compliance with Ed Law 2D. We'll continue investments in the district's technology and VEX robotics programs. Under the category of safeguarding the community's investment, we'll be purchasing a 2-way radio digital repeater service for increased student transportation safety. We'll continue carpeting, flooring, and classroom furniture replacements as needed. Improve the elementary school boilers, hire a full-time cleaner to address COVID-19 cleaning and disinfecting protocols. Following our vehicle replacement plan schedule, residents will be asked to approve the purchase of 2 school buses as a separate proposition. This purchase will be financed by issuing a bond anticipation note. And the first of 5 debt service payments will be made in the 2021-2022 school year. This will be the 9th year of purchasing buses through a budget proposition and financing them over a 5-year period. So a prior purchase will come off the debt payment schedule when this one is added, leveling the impact on taxes. The Board of Education would like to thank everyone who was involved in developing the budget. We hope the district will continue to see the overwhelming community support that has contributed to many years of success for the students of Lake George. You can find more information at www.lkgeorge.org. So thank you to everyone. Next up, we have Lynn King, our Vice President, who's making some remarks on revenues.
Thank you, Tricia. Good evening to all, and thank you for taking the time to join us for our budget hearing. The Board of Education is pleased to propose a budget that stays under the tax cap while providing personalized opportunities for all students that empower them to be lifelong learners, leaders, and global citizens. We have also been sensitive to the uncertain situation that we all face due to the ongoing pandemic. When developing the budget, the district was mindful of creating a sustainable budget for the future. Conservative spending, careful planning, and prudent fiscal management enable the district to minimize the tax burden while maximizing the educational opportunities for our students. Maintaining a stable tax rate and minimizing the tax burden on our residents is always a priority when developing our budget. George actually has the third lowest tax rate in the county and very low compared to schools across the state. Our property owners contribute 84% of our operating support. For our 2020-21 budget, the district is proposing a tax levy increase that stays well below the maximum allowable tax levy limit of 2.26%. We are proposing a 1.5% increase in the tax levy, which will yield an additional $298,100 in property taxes. Based on current information, for a $200,000 home in Lake George and Bolton, taxes would increase by $22. For those who live in Queensbury or Fort Anne, taxes would increase by approximately $20. Our state aid situation is very uncertain. We have a projected 15% decrease in foundation aid from last year. This results in approximately $200,000 less in state aid compared to the previous year. The district has offset the burden on taxpayers by strategically appropriating fund balance and reserves. Appropriated reserves, excuse me, this year, the district plans to use $942,747 from appropriated fund balance and $350,000 from appropriated reserves. This represents 5% of the district's total revenue projection. Finally, as your school board, it is on mission to carefully manage resources in order to continue to fill the community's vision for the district and its children for generations to come. Thank you again for coming tonight.
Thank you, Lynn. To let you know, folks, we did receive some feedback about the timing of this meeting, and if you know of anybody who could not come to this meeting and is interested in seeing the proceedings, please know that it will be it's being recorded and it will be posted on the website. So that is an opportunity for anybody. Let's see, we have our budget presentation coming up now with Mr. Mike Varney. Mike, thanks for presenting.
Okay, just give me a second here. Everybody see that?
Not yet. Well, there it is. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for coming out tonight. We've worked really hard on this budget. You know, we've worked really hard to maintain a balance between respecting the situation that taxpayers are in and fulfilling our most important mission, which is continuing the excellent school system that we have for Lake George students. Just to take you back to some highlights from previous presentations, from a non-instructional side, we're looking to purchase the digital radios, which will significantly enhance our communication system with the buses and improve the safety for our students. We're looking to purchase a new control board for the boiler in the elementary school and maintain the regular carpeting, flooring, and cabinet replacements that we need to do from time to time. And we're also looking to make some public relations enhancements, specifically increasing our BOCES service in that area for a day, mainly to focus on helping the principals get their message out from their respective buildings. From an instructional budget standpoint, for curriculum development, we have phased out the K-12 director of curriculum and phased in the TOSAs. For teaching, we have recognized in excess of $200,000 in savings through attrition and replacement savings. We have budgeted more money for students with disabilities. We are projecting a few placements in outside schools that we did not have this year, so we want to make sure we're covered for that. And our occupational education will probably be roughly the same as last year when all is said and done. For instructional media, we are dealing with some new mandates related to Ed Law 2D, which we have put some things in place to help us address those needs. We are making the full-time assistant information officer. That's basically making something that was being done in practice a reality now. She was working on a 10-month basis and then getting paid day by day over the summer, so we've turned that into a full-time position. And for pupil services, we want to maintain the momentum with VEX Robotics, continue our relationship with the Positive Coaching Alliance. That's been a wonderful program for our student athletes. And the rest of the items there are the typical rotating improvements that we make for equipment, rotating through various sports, and uniforms as well. We usually pick a few different sports every year and upgrade their uniforms. So from the three-part budget standpoint, looking at it, in terms of big picture, we're looking at a 0.4% budget-to-budget increase. Where does the money go? This is very typical of any school district. We're a people business. We're a service business. We work with children on a daily basis. 76% of our budget is salary and benefits. 17% is services, mostly through BOCES. We try and maximize that as much as possible because we get roughly 30% aid on our BOCES services. 3% is for equipment, materials, and supplies, and 4% is for interfund transfers. And as I said, this is very typical of any school district. From a revenue standpoint, as I already mentioned, we're looking to go out with a 1.5% increase to our tax levy. Of all of the component districts in our BOCES, that is very much on the low end. The charge for services and the use of property has gone down primarily because of the interest rate on our investments has gone down significantly from last year. Other revenues has gone up a little bit. We've been able to take advantage of a buyback program that we have with our student devices, with a company that purchases those as students bring those back in. As I already mentioned, state aid roughly is going to be down about $200,000. That's a net decrease of 8.5% from last year. That's because that's a combination of a 15% cut to foundation aid and the other aids running as expected, which we're assuming that they're going to do at this point. Those would be the categorical based aids, based on textbooks, software, things like that, where we get a certain amount of aid per student based on how much we spend. So that's actually based on what we've already spent last year. And we're looking to, again, take a significant amount of fund balance and reserves and apply that to next year to help balance the budget. So looking at it a different way, about 84% of our revenues come from the local tax levy, about 10% for state aid, 1% other revenue sources, and 5% from fund balance and reserves. Some more specific tax levy information. As I already mentioned, the maximum allowable levy was 2.26%. We could have gone out for a maximum increase of $449,000. We're going out with a 1.5 increase for $298,100. Using 1920 data, 2021 is not finalized yet for assessed values and equalization rates. That's going to result in a $22 increase in your taxes for Lake George and Bolton and $20 in Queensbury and Fort Anne. I would say that 2020 is a revaluation year for Bolton and Lake George. What you're going to see is a significant increase just in looking at some tax reports from the New York State Office of Real Property Services, potentially 24% in terms of the assessed tax value for Lake George and Bolton, which actually means per $1,000 tax rates will actually get lower. But I bring that to your attention because, I can't predict, because everybody's assessment, somebody might go up 3%, somebody might go up 20%. It's impossible for me to predict what their change in taxes will be. So I'm comparing apples to apples here, so to speak, to get the number of 22 and the number of 20. You can see our budget notice. The column that we're talking about is in the middle. If we were to, which is the 0.4% increase, if we were to go to a contingency budget, we would be looking at a total budget of $23,611,000, which would actually be a 0.86% decrease. We're looking to purchase 2 buses and stay on track with our 10-year bus replacement schedule. And 3 buses will be put up for auction this summer, as well as 2 vans. So we're actually, when all is said and done, we are reducing the transportation fleet. For the board election, the Board of Trustees, we're electing 2 3-year terms, and the candidates are listed. The contingency budget information, according to state law, we can only vote on a school budget twice. So in the event the proposed budget is defeated, we have 3 options. We can put the same budget before the voters and try a second time. We can put a revised and typically lower budget before the voters, or we can adopt a contingency budget. We are expecting some guidance, hopefully in the next week or so, as to if there would be a change with a contingency vote, because the contingency vote is supposed to be the 3rd Tuesday, which would be the week after our vote. It would be impossible for districts to get out the information necessary for people to vote at that date. So I am expecting more guidance in that area. And the budget vote is Tuesday, June 9th, and that's voting by absentee ballot, and the ballots are due by 5 p.m. to the district clerk. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Mike, thank you so much for that. I think one of the things that you said at our board meeting really resounded with me, and it just shows the level-headed approach that you've had. And I know all the collaboration that's gone into it, but the whole idea of keeping things on a steady course, especially with the uncertainties that face us, I think that your level-headed approach and collaborative approach is really sound. And thank you for presenting all this information to us today.
You're welcome.
Let's see, I'm looking in my inbox to see if we have any comments. And once again, if anybody has a public comment, you email it to boe@lkgeorge.org. But as of right now, I don't see any further comments. Board members, do you have any comments?
Just thank you to the administration for the fine amount of work they've done creating as sound a budget as possible, considering the time that we're in right now.
And I also just wanted to say thanks, Mike. I appreciate the clarity of your presentation. The focus on purchases around safety, the elements around safety for our students, and yeah, attention to that just stood out to me, and I appreciate you highlighting sort of like the essentials of that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for explaining the collaborative effort that went into formulating the budget, looking at attrition and balancing the needs with the conscientiousness about what's going on right now for the budget. So I appreciate all the thought and collaboration that went into that.
So what is on the agenda here is that we will adjourn the public hearing, and then I will announce the candidates for Board of Education after we adjourn the meeting. So if you want to hear that announcement afterwards, stay tuned, even though we move to adjourn. And can I get a motion?
So I have my questions. You want me to go through those first?
Yep. Sorry, I thought that we didn't have any. Yes, please.
Okay, so the first question was how much money was not spent due to the shutdown, and how did that affect the spending plan for 2020-21? So it's very difficult to get an exact number, but we worked up some estimates. And certainly there are things like trips, obviously that didn't happen. There are field trips and there are athletic runs. So there's certainly a savings for transportation and fuel. Officials at athletic events that we didn't pay. Chaperones, substitute teachers, conferences, some BOCES services, some professional development presentations, and various other supplies. All told, that's about $220,000. But I would also note that there was a very expensive budget mailing. We've invested, $12,000 in cleaning supplies and equipment. There have been additional supplies needed to address learning at home, staff members working at home. So I would say, this is a rough ballpark estimate, probably netting to about $200,000. In terms of how did that affect the budget planning for next year, I would say it's a combination of two things. Number one, it's taking some of that savings and purchasing things that we were going to purchase next year, this year. For example, the safety cameras. We had a number of different locations at the high school and the elementary school, and we've taken care of that. And the rest of that is being rolled forward into next year's budget in appropriated fund balance and reserves. The second question was, with the enrollment dropping to 670, why are we not seeing corresponding drops in staffing? Well, I'm not exactly sure what the question is getting at, but here's what I would say. One teacher doesn't teach one student. So there's not going to be, if our enrollment drops 6%, there's not going to be a 6% drop in teachers. In the enrollment drop, mostly, and our enrollment's going down roughly 45 students, I think, from last year. And when you look at that, well, a teacher could have 15, 20, 25 kids in a class. Well, we are dropping one teacher in the elementary school that could have 15, 20, 25 kids in a class. And we're also realigning an a special education teacher and moving them up in the school where there will be where the IEP needs are for more students. So I hope I've addressed that question, but there's never going to be an exact correlation between the percentage of student drop and the percentage of staff drop. And the last one is, have you taken into account the economic impact of COVID-19 on the taxpayers in the district, which is heavily dependent on the tourist business? If so, how can you in all good conscience ask for a tax increase? I have thought tremendously, we have thought tremendously about the impact of COVID-19. It's affected all of us. It's affected my own family. And the only thing we can do is work as hard as we can to maintain that balance and look for that sweet spot, so to speak. And that's probably not a good word, of respecting what is a really tough time for taxpayers with the need to put forth the top-notch school that we all want and need, and which is also a wonderful thing for the economic impact of the community. And I think we've done a solid job with that, with a 0.4% budget-to-budget increase. You know, we did the best that we could, and I feel like we've done a solid job. So, thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Sarah, I don't see any new notes in my inbox, but I wanted to check with you just in case it didn't come through on my Wi-Fi.
No, I do not have any additional questions either.
Excellent. With that, thank you, everybody. And certainly this recording will be up on the website. And then if any other questions come up from community members, they can always email the Board of Education. We're here for you.
Trish, I know you said you're going to announce the 4 candidates.
Yep.
Do folks, I just want to make sure folks know that they can go to the Lake George website. Is that something you're going to talk about?
Yep.
Okay.
On
Thank you.
our agenda, we adjourn the public hearing and then we get into that.
Thank you.
So with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So Lynn King, and then a second.
Second.
80 seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're adjourned at 5:27. And
Melissa's listening too.
very good. Announcing the candidates for Board of Education. We have 2 seats that are vacant, and we have 4 candidates, and I will list them in the order that they will appear on the ballot. Janine Bieber, Rosemarie Earl, Jay Salmon, and Tom Sedgwick. And Tom Sedgwick is the incumbent. He has served a 3-year term with the Board of Education, and he is up for re-election. So there'll be those folks will be on the ballot and coming to you with that budget vote and the Board of Education ballot vote, including the bus vote. So board members, budget, and bus will be on your ballot. And you can find, you can find the information for those board candidates on our website. There are some questions that each of them have answered, and that's a great way to learn more about the folks running for the board. Any comments, questions, clarifications? All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
You need to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn. Okay.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a night.
Thank you.
Good night.